Hi, this is Mr. Cordes, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue on with our writing for the author study unit. In our last session together, we worked on two of the multiple sentences that you see in front of you. So we worked on author style. We originally worked on author style, which was identifying and explaining what's unique about your author's writing style. Then we also did the analysis sentence. The analysis sentence is where you explain how that style, that characteristic of that style, contributes to the bigger theme or the message or the overall story. So you've crafted two sentences, very, very two important sentences. And honestly, if those two sentences are not done, it's going to be hard to move forward. Now, if you have questions or concerns about those two sentences, please message me, email me. Let's figure out what we can write in those two sentences so that we can move on. Now, even though I'm saying the word sentences, like one sentence, two sentence, you need to have, there should be multiple sentences there. It should take you 2 to 3 sentences to tell me about the author's unique writing style. There is the analysis sentence, explain how the author's style contributes to the story's message and theme. That should probably be about 2 to 3 sentences as well. Okay. Today, our goal is to finish 3 additional boxes. Okay. We are going to work on context. We are going to work on concrete detail, and we are going to work on commentary. Now, the great thing is that we have done this since the beginning of the semester, and this is all review. So here's what you're going to do first. You're actually going to start with your piece of evidence from the story. However, your piece of evidence must showcase the technique and writing style that you talked about up here. So if you explain to me that Edgar Allan Poe uses long sentences, you better have a long sentence from his story that fits in right there. Let's say that you wrote about Sandra Cisneros and how she incorporates English and Spanish words. That's the example that you need to find for your story, okay? And it will go in that box. Sorry, I've got the hiccups right now, okay? If you wrote about Maya Angelou using descriptive metaphors, mark that right there, and that's what you said. Find me an example. So you really cannot find that piece of textual evidence from the story unless you have and know what you're writing about up here. Now, if you put multiple things in this sentence, like let's say that you said, oh, she uses metaphors and descriptive language and lots of imagery. Great. Perfect. I get one of them to showcase here in the piece of textual evidence. So go back to your stories, go back to your poems, pull those up so that you're able to see it, cut and paste if you want, retype it, put it into that space as far as what the story is concerned. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Okay. Now that you have the textual evidence, you need to add in the context. So what is going on in your story for that sentence to make sense? We can't just have it randomly there. So let's say that you got a long sentence from the Cask of Amontillado for Edgar Allan Poe, and you've written it down and you know what it means because you've read the story, but some other people may not. You need to say, what's going on for this, right? What's going on for our characters? What's going on in the story? Same for Maya Angelou and Sandra Cisneros. If you tell me about the house on Mango Street, and there's a part in there that explains her relationship with her dad. You know, maybe that's the example that you selected, and it's got shorter sentences or casual conversation or English and Spanish words. Tell me what's going on in the story, okay? Tell me what's going on. Same with Maya Angelou. If you reference to her using metaphors up here, and you gave me a great example of the metaphor here, like I know why the caged bird sings, what's going on in the story so that quote makes sense. Okay. So as an example of this, and I've used this example before, if you're watching a movie and you come into a specific part in the middle of the movie and you don't know what's going on, someone who's been watching for a long time will give you some sort of context. This happened this past weekend. My son was watching a movie. I walked into the room. I was like, wait, what's going on? Why is he fighting that guy over there? My son gave me context to help me understand why these two people were fighting in the movie. Same thing. What's going on in your story that you can offer some sort of context? Okay. So that's your second thing. So you've paused now and gotten a piece of textual evidence. You've paused now and got your context. Okay. Pause and make sure. So at this point, you have an author style sentence or sentences. You have your context, you have your concrete detail, and you have your analysis. Okay. Those are the four things that you have right now. We are now going to go into commentary. So if you need to pause and get those sentences done, please do so. If not, we're going to move on to commentary. Commentary, just like before, is your thoughts and ideas based upon what you're writing about. What is that overall message? What is that idea that's being projected? So here, this explains what is happening in the quote and begins to explain how and why the concrete detail illustrates or demonstrates the thesis. What you guys are talking about is the author's life, the author's writing style, and how that contributes to the story. So it will feel, guys, like you are almost repeating yourself, and that's okay. If you look here for your analysis, you've already written down how the style, how like long sentences, short sentences, metaphors, descriptive sentences, details, how all of those things contribute back to the bigger meaning of the story. So what does this show to the reader? This shows that what? What does this show? This shows that the protagonists experience this because of this element, right? This shows that metaphors are used to convey the message of, right? This shows that having a different voice makes us all better listeners for each other, right? How do these things correspond? So what does this really show? What does your author's style and this example and how it connects, what does that show us readers? Think of it that way. For your commentary sentence, what does this show for the readers? What do they pick up on when they understand that the writing style is like X, Y, and Z? Okay, what do readers understand when the writing style is like this? You've got an example from the story, and now you've told me what it means overall. What does that do for the reader? This shows us that metaphors convey a deeper meaning using descriptive words. This shows that Sandra Cisneros struggled in life to find her voice among her, 7 brothers. Right? This shows us that the sorrow and sadness of Edgar Allan Poe's life translated into his longing for love in his writing. Like, those are the things that we want to pull apart in half. Okay. So if you would for me, please, that's your goal for the day, is to add in those 3 boxes. So you've already started with your author style. You've started with your analysis. Now today's goal was your context, concrete detail, and commentary. Okay. Please take the time to fill those in. If you have questions or concerns, just message me and I'll help you kind of fill it in. When you turn this in, those are the sentences that should be done. And the only thing that's remaining will be the topic sentence and the concluding sentence. Okay. Which we will do later, not today, later. Let me remind you, if you have additional sentences in here, that's perfectly fine. Don't look here and say like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have 5 sentences. We should have multiple sentences in here to help explain ourselves. All right. Especially with the author's style, especially with the analysis and even the commentary and even the context or even the concrete detail. All of them could have multiple sentences for you. Okay. Please message me if you have any questions or concerns. Go ahead and get started writing. Can't wait to see how you guys piece this together.